All right, part 423. I don't know where we're at. Anyway, let's talk about how the libs are trying to help with the illegal aliens and immigration. As I say, it's all destruction in their wake. They turn to crap everything they touch. They're like the anti-Midas, the non-Midas. I don't know what you'd call it. Instead of gold, it turns to dog crap. Let's help illegal aliens, shall we? So what do we do when we help the illegal alien? Well, we end up allowing opening the borders to help them, which allows criminals and terrorists to cross the border, and we wouldn't even know it. You know, there's this whole argument about, oh, we shouldn't be pissing on the illegal alien because, after all, most of them are good. It's like, I'm sorry, is that the point? No, that's not the point. The point is that every country has the right to control its borders, and every country but America, almost every country, actually does. You can find your face in jail real quick if you cross the southern, any border of Mexico. And good luck getting out anytime soon. But what about the people who are coming to this country because of they have war, or they have a coup in their country, or they're fear for their lives, or the cartels are after them, or whatever. Well, that's fine. Giving sanctuary, political asylum, as it's called, only applies to two countries, Canada and Mexico. Why? Because international law says that a political asylum has to be satisfied differently than what most liberals think. The law is that if you are a political refugee from a country, it is your responsibility to find the nearest safe port, harbor, or country and settle your issues with them. You don't get to shop for your favorite country when you are a political refugee, because if you have the time to shop, then you must not really be that much in danger. If you are in Argentina, let's say, and you're fearing for your life and need political asylum, you do not get to come to the United States because you heard it's the best place to be and they're giving free crap away. No. You have three choices: Brazil, Uruguay, or Chile. The surrounding countries of your country. That's the only place you are legally allowed to go to seek political asylum. Sorry. So if you are not Mexican or in Mexico, and you're not Canadian or in Canada, you don't get to come here. Sorry. So all this razzmatazz about Guatemalans and El Salvadorians with pretend children coming up to the, political asylum, oh my God, we're not being American and compassionate. Well, tough toenails, because if they were really fleeing for political problems and were claiming asylum politically, their next port of call should have been Mexico or a nearby country. So they lie. What a shock. They lie about everything. It's all about one goal: get the illegals in here so we can give them free crap and get them to later vote for Democrats. Why? Because there aren't enough Democrats to vote for Democrats. Why? Because there aren't enough dead people, or people voting twice, or all the other shenanigans they pull off during election season. We need criminals and convicts to be able to vote again, and we need illegal aliens. Just like the dependents they made out of blacks and minorities, we let you stay in the country, you vote Democrat, if it ever comes to that. Instead, you get sanctuary cities. And you get criminals who have been deported 10, 20, 30 times back into the country, causing problems. And you get idiots like Geraldo Rivera, who says, oh, we must be compassionate, and we want to bring people in, and this is an open, Statue of Liberty. Bring us your poor, you're tired, you're dumb, you're stupid. No, it doesn't say that. We still get to pick who comes. Ellis Island still had walls and gates. You can come, but we have to let you in. And we should be allowed to let you in or not, depending on your merits. What happened to being meritorious about things? Nope, we're just going to let everyone in. Who cares? Open borders, sanctuary cities, flout the federal law, decide that you as a state or a governor of a state or the mayor of a town or whatever has more power than the president or the laws of the land. Destruction everywhere. And then people die at the hands of illegal aliens. So, oh, well, the percentage of illegal aliens, Geraldo again, percentage of illegal aliens is doing crime is so much smaller than the percentage of actual Americans doing crime. Why don't we? It's like, again, you're missing the point. We're not talking about numbers or percentages. We're talking about preventable crime. Here's an easy way to prevent crime. If you could prevent murder from citizens in the United States, wouldn't you do something about it? We have a way of preventing murder and other crimes. And I'm not buying the fact that their percentage are lower anyway, but let's give him that fact. If you could stop it by building a wall or stopping people from crossing the border, why wouldn't you do that? If you could stop it by immediately reporting these people to an organization that does the deporting, why wouldn't you do that? And anybody who would not do that is basically complicit in the murder or the crime or its potentiality. And that, my friends, are the liberals. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do a thing. Liberals sought to protect social welfare. And so, in doing so, they've created an ever-growing, out-of-control bureaucracy. A long time ago, the progressive movement had in its mantra or mandate a clause about protecting social welfare. And that meant, I guess, was that they were hoping to maintain the welfare of society through government works. They had to grow government to do this, of course. And that led to the idea of a administrative government that had administrations, unelected groups of people, departments of the government, created out of whole cloth, without the consent of the governed, but at an executive level, that would handle the duties of protecting the social welfare. And voila, 100 and some years later, we have governmentus gigantus. Progressives sought to promote fairness as well. And so equal opportunity is now turned on its head. It's now equal result. There used to be a fundamental fairness in this country that said we all start from the starting line at the same place, but we may not end at the finish line. Now the Democrats and the progressives have said, let's just change that. Let's make everyone end at the finish line at the same time. So they attack the successful, they supposedly help the unsuccessful, and we all meet in the middle in mediocrityville. Sounds like boring. Find a book on the library shelf somewhere. Great Feats by Mediocrity. Really thin book. Wanted to help the community. This is a somewhat nebulous thing you always hear from progressives. We're helping the community. Instead of helping the community, what do they have to tear down in order to help the community in their eyes? Well, if you're trying to help a group, then you have to destroy the individual. They've been anti-individual almost from their inception. The whole idea of individualism and self-responsibility and the power of the individual has been completely blown up. It is the very basis of Americanism, our Constitution. It is the very basic of philosophy passed down from the greats that created the United States and our culture. The power of the individual, the worth of the individual, putting the individual in front of government, in front of groups, in front of communities, because the individual and the individual mind is the spark of all of it. And by destroying individuals, you destroy their rights as well. Individual rights are now in jeopardy in favor of community rights. And that is going to lead to disaster, folks. Destruction in their wake. Sought to control big business. The funny part is, the irony is that big businesses are now run more and more by Democrats. The 4 biggest companies in the world 10 years ago were Walmart, and let me think here. It was I just remember the names, but now it's Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon, and every one of them, I think every one of them, is run by a huge, outspoken, progressive liberal. So notice that the attack on big business, again, it's the mask. But behind the mask, yeah, they're still feeding the beast. They run banks and they run corporations. You know, Hillary didn't give money to Goldman Sachs take money for Goldman Sachs for her campaign for no reason. She has a lot of friends there. Twitter is a big company. Twitter has, guess how many Republicans and conservatives and right-wingers they have employed at Twitter? 0. They outwardly say, we will not hire you. Don't apply. Big business? Control big business? So what do? They reintroduced the idea of the evil corporation. This is something that John Smith fought hundreds of years ago. Consumerism is the bad thing, because consumerism is what educates people about businesses and makes them realize that they're not evil, that they need incentive to move forward, to do the right thing. But once they're doing that, it's good. But you can't attack big business if you're educating people with consumerism. So consumerism is horrible. And it created an overregulated society. Now these corporations have regulations. Trump recently stripped a lot of them and is continuing to do so. But prior to that, we had fees and regulations, stifling business, harder to do business in the United States than almost any place on earth. Corporation after corporation leaving the United States in favor of more favorable conditions in other third world countries or near third world countries preferred than their own home country of the United States. Where was this 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus years ago? Nowhere. Only now. Under the regulatory environment, fees and conditions and Overwatch corporations and OSHAs and this and that and the other thing. Some of the stuff they do, I can see where it might be a good thing maybe to help watch people be safe in the workplace and blah, blah. But overreach, too much government, too much in charge, too much tyranny, too much corruption. And trillions of dollars parked overseas because expatriated, because who wants to do business here? That's the United States? Since when? We were a powerhouse. Control big business. Screw you. They sought to improve the justice system, you know, because it was so fundamentally unfair and racist. Well, they're always tinkering with the justice system. They're putting in their judges who legislate from the bench, and they, you know, all sorts of things. But what do they end up actually doing? You get corrupt judges. Is that what we wanted? Corrupt judges? It used to be a time a judge, you know, really kind of like a, you know, kind of like a journalist at one time. They really held their position with pride. Some couldn't care less. Some are as corrupt as can be, who have it as their goal to help move along socialist, liberal, progressive ideas and ideology from their bench. Corrupt, bribe-taking, what have you. You got the entire judicial system politicized now, where you can attack a judge, but more to the point, from within the judicial system. You got judges who decide they're going to stop a legal, constitutional proposition in California, or stop a legal constitution policy by the executive branch of the United States, the president, and throw out some BS thing to stop what you don't want to have happen, even though it's legal to happen and constitutional to happen in every way. Politicizing the judicial system. And that leads to putting criminals' rights over the victims' rights, which we've seen time and time again. All this money, time, effort, energy spent towards protecting the criminal, giving him, you know, club fed and three hots and a cot isn't enough anymore. They have to be now college educated if they want to be in certain prisons. And meanwhile, the family and of the victims and the victim themselves, they get the short end of the deal. They get no justice at all. The whole judicial system was based upon the victim and his family, her family, their family, not the criminal. 180 degrees out of phase. They actually have to have a proposition in Nevada this cycle to actually spells out victims' rights. We wouldn't need that if we weren't attacking the victim in favor of the criminal. But here we are. They sought to bring fairness to sentencing and incarceration. Yeah, so criminals get out early. They get out on probation early. They do plea bargaining. They got all these rights like Miranda, but victims, not so much. Rate of recidivism increases. Now all these people going back to prison and back to prison, because it's nicer in prison than it is in their own communities. The communities, by the way, run by Democrats. We already mentioned Club Fed. They wanted to protect the country from conservative Supreme Court nominees. Well, we already talked about how 200 years of rules and precedences have been thrown out of the door to try to attack Kavanaugh. Of course, it's going to backfire on them, but they don't care about that stuff. You know, they said one thing 20 years ago about one nominee, and now they say the exact opposite when that nomination process is going to hurt them. Hypocrites. What a shock. All right, we'll try to sum this up in the final part 6 next. See you then.